V2Verify is a company that provides a technology to positively identify and authenticate a person. I always start that with a question. Have you ever felt the frustration of a forgotten PIN, an answered password, or an answer to a challenge question? What we do is we actually resolve that using technology and using your voice as a way to identify you. So you do not have to remember PINs, passwords, and answers challenge questions to access data through portals, mobile apps, in a face-to-face environment or over the phone with, say, for your bank or your airline. Every person's voice is very unique. As you can imagine, in your real life, if you pick up the phone, even without a caller ID, you generally know who's at the other end of the phone. And that's because there are some very unique characteristics about your voice that the human ear can pick up. We've actually taken that idea, that concept, and digitized and made it into. So we actually look at the vocal characteristics of your voice and the uniqueness in that, and we use that to be able to identify you. Now, what's unique about V2Verify is that we can do that with a very short sample of random speech. And what that means is that we can do that with 2 seconds of speech with better than 99% accuracy. So 2 seconds of speech, to equate that, would be like saying your US phone number. A 10-digit phone number gives us 2 seconds of speech. So saying that many words, that little number of words, we can actually be able to confirm your identity, and that's what we do. That's an interesting question. I come from a banking background and a banking and a payments background. And as I looked at the authentication landscape within a bank, I asked myself this question: why, when you walk into a branch, you got to actually have a driver's license or some form of ID? When you log into their portal or their mobile app, you actually got to remember a password. When you call them, you got to remember answers to some random challenge questions. And when you go to the ATM, you got to remember a PIN. That's a horrible customer experience when you are the customer and you're made to actually do all this just to be able to identify you, when you already know who you are. So the idea behind V2Verify was to find a technology that can actually be able to simplify that authentication process. So I didn't need a driving license. I didn't need to remember a password. I didn't need to remember a PIN. But the bank can still have a way to be able to identify me and then transact with me. So that's really at the core. And as a company, we always got to start with a why. And our why is simplify life. And that's basically it. It's really about simplifying life, because you don't have to remember all these ways of being able to get access to data or your data. My vision is that V2Verify will be the global standard for authentication. So whether you're actually calling your bank, you're going to an airline, you're transacting with anyone, where you're actually working with any protected data, that we become the standard for authentication. So you will never have to have that notepad or with passwords written, or a spreadsheet with passwords, or having to remember random passwords and having to change passwords every 30 days. The idea is to simplify life by getting rid of all that and using who you are, your voice. We carry that with us all the time. We don't have to remember it. It's with us. And if we can use that as a way to be able to authenticate across all these channels, across all these touch points with different organizations we transact with, that will be the perfect world. And that's our vision. Our vision is to actually become that company that provides that service. Maverick Venture Fund came in as a crucial time. We were looking for angel investors and working with the fund. Two ways. One is from the investment perspective, but the second way also, it helped us prepare. Going through the due diligence and working on the due diligence process helped us prepare for due diligence we're doing right now with a VC firm. So it's really, it was really twofold. Money was one thing, but also help us prepare some of the documentation to actually get through a due diligence process was important. I think it's a great idea. Coming from an entrepreneurial background, I think that students being able to look at other entrepreneurs, look at other companies, look at other startups specifically, and understand the vision, understand how to build a company, because a part of that due diligence process is really understanding all that. I think it will really set us up for a great future, especially in places like Omaha, where the city and the state is trying to encourage startups. Having students coming out with a background of seeing other companies, seeing how other people are doing it, and hopefully that will encourage some of the students to actually do their own startups and really make Omaha and Nebraska really a kind of a hub for startups and tech startups, because that's where a lot of the value is. That will then drive up our whole economic situation, where from everything from the pay rates, it just helps our city and helps our state. Yeah, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Is probably the best place. Damian De Rozairo. If you search for Damian De Rozairo on LinkedIn, you will find me. Or you can connect to us through our website. It is v2verify.com. That's the letter V, the number 2verify.com. And it has all our contact details, including our phone. And there's an info@v2verify.com email. If you email that and ask for Damian, someone will connect me with you. So that would be one of the best ways to find us. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn. We have pages on those too.